most honest podcast.
My reputation speaks for itself.
Veracity Exchange.
Hosted by none other than Brilliance.
Y'all now tuned in to V.E.T.V. and today I got a special guest in the building, Mr. Giamo Jackson Carter. What's going on, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. You know what I'm saying? So, what you got going on, man? How's it life? What do you consider that? Would that be considered living abroad, or what is that?
That's a very good question. For me, I take it's day to day for me. So
right.
I can always go back to U.S. I would say though, I've been here in Dominican Republic for the past 9 or 10 months. So I think, you could consider it kind of like having being here for an extended amount of time. I don't know if I would consider myself an expat quite yet, but somewhere in between an extended stay and an expat.
Let's back it up a little bit then. So who is Giamo Jackson Carter, man? Where are you from and how was life growing up?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Well, originally I was born in Kansas City, Missouri. So, 816 Truce, if people know those streets.
Right.
Yes. And so I was born there. And actually, to be honest with you, as it relates to Dominican Republic, I was born in the U.S., but my mother, she has a lot of ties to the Dominican Republic because she did a language exchange or some exchange student thing when she was a teenager. So
okay,
there's pictures of me, after I was born as a baby in the Dominican Republic. So my history with the DR goes, it extends, pretty much my whole life.
Right.
But I was born in Kansas City. And I grew up, how people say, from the major city. I didn't actually grow up in the city, but I grew up in a suburb called Overland Park. So, yeah. And, I think, how can I say? My childhood was very regular, very mellow. I was in Dominican Republic for a year, and then I kind of was just wandering. Like, I was in Peru for a minute.
What was that like in Peru?
Oh, I love Peru. Peru was great. I wasn't there for a long time. I was there for 3 months, but Peru is a very just historical place. I was in a place called Chiclayo. Well, I was in Pimentel and Chiclayo, and actually I was teaching English.
Okay,
that was my purpose there. And even though I was in Peru, I was mostly like this school I was in. Like they had other international teachers and other international employees there, so I was mostly around like a lot of German and European people, but.
Right.
I would say if you're thinking about going to Peru, definitely the cuisine is amazing and the history is something that's very amazing. So I was in Peru and then I was Costa Rica.
How long were you in Costa Rica?
I was in Costa Rica for 5 to 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 to 6 months. And there I met my girlfriend, well, ex-girlfriend now. And to be honest with you, how can I say? As it relates to relationships and whatnot, I guess you could say I was a late bloomer because she was really my first girlfriend.
Right.
I was like 20 or 21. And and to be honest with you, I had never really experienced, we could say that Latin love or something like this, So, and I was very blue pill, just very like,
right.
Everything like this is, is all or nothing. So, I remember because I was in Costa Rica for 5 to 6 months, and then I went back to the U.S. and I started to do some community college. And for example, even when I was in Kansas, I was working at Walmart, just doing basic stuff.
Right.
And I was still trying to send money back to her.
Oh man.
Yeah. It was, it was real. It was real.
Right.
Yeah. The simping was at an all-time high. I don't deny my simping. Actually, I told my parents that I was going to move. No, I was going to go to Costa Rica for 2 weeks.
Okay.
But actually, I had the intention of staying there for forever.
Right. Okay.
Actually, so yes. So that happened. And then, after 3 months, the Costa Rica and the girlfriend thing it wasn't working out. So then I was around 20 or 21 years old, and I went to Miami.
Okay.
And that's when I was in Miami in Florida, and then I started to go to Miami-Dade College.
How long did it take for you to, first of all, grow your audience on YouTube?
Okay, that's very good. Well, it's funny. I've had my channel for almost 9 or 10 years.
Okay.
Now I've had my channel for 9 or 10 years, but this is my original channel, my original Gmail. My first video It has like 50,000 views, but I didn't know anything about like monetization or making money.
Right.
9 or 10 years ago. That wasn't even. I was just doing it because I just wanted to make a video, tell information.
Right. Right.
So yeah, and then I would say about 3 years ago when I was in school, like I'd say 2019. Yeah, 2019. That's when I kind of officially started to really want to like be monetized. Basically, I wanted to be monetized on YouTube.
Right.
That was my goal. But I was studying in Miami-Dade College. So, and my channel is a travel channel just in general. So it was difficult to really, do the type of videos I wanted to do in school. But I would say when I got here to Dominican Republic, well, I spent a lot of time in Las Terrenas.
Okay.
Which Las Terrenas is on the East Coast, which is a very beautiful place.
Okay.
I think that a lot of my videos that I do now are pretty similar to what I did over there, except the fact that there is a different market. It's much more tranquil. It's much more about real estate and these things. I didn't really have any deep connections in the real estate game.
Right.
And it's also very very European, like French, German, Italian. It's not really my crowd.
Right.
But when I got here, I got here to Sosua about 3 months ago. And to be honest with you, for me, it's really been a blessing in many different ways just because I'm able to connect with people that allow me to do the type of videos that I've always wanted to do ever since I was even in Miami.
Right.
Allow me to really, and to be honest with you, when I was in Dominican Republic, since I've been here in Dominican Republic, like the first 6 or 7 months, I was thinking, I don't know, maybe I should leave, maybe I should go because it's not really, nothing's really happening. But since I got here and I've really been able to put my plan in action and type of videos I wanted to do, I can see that like you said, the results have. I'm not going to say amazing, but they've been like we talk about core audience, and obviously here in Sosua, here's just a lot of beautiful women, or different type of women here that people enjoy. And so for me, and I know that a lot of travel YouTubers, like, it's interesting. I'm not going to mention any names because,
Right. Yeah.
But, a lot of times they kind of, I don't want to say use sounds exploitative, but, they have a lot of women in their videos in the beginning. And then as they grow more successful or get more successful, they try to stem away from maybe that type of thing. But for me, I just try to bring a holistic approach. And here in Sosua, all the girls you see, that's just the way life is. And I know a lot of people in the comments section, they don't really understand it, or this is different.
Right.
But I'm just trying to convey how life, or what life can really be here in Sosua.
Right. So you said the last place you stayed was what? What was the name of that place again?
Oh, the last place the last place I stayed for a long time was called Las Terrenas. Which is the eastern side. And then I was in Las Terrenas from like September to February.
Okay.
And then in February, I went to Santiago for a month, which Santiago is like, what's a good comparison in the United States to Santiago? Santiago, I would imagine, is kind of like maybe like Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Like in the sense that it's a bigger city. It's the second biggest city here in Dominican Republic.
Right.
But it's not like it's not like a Miami or an LA or like New York. Like, it's not super exciting. Like,
right.
It's a lot of industrial people, a lot of people just working, doing their due, and stuff like this. So
between those three places, what would be the biggest difference? You know what I mean?
Okay, between Las Terrenas, Sosua, and Santiago.
Yeah.
So that's a good question. I may have been. Well, let me explain this. So it's difficult to compare Sosua versus Las Terrenas.
Okay.
Because, it's difficult to compare Sosua and Las Terrenas to Santiago, because Santiago is the second biggest city, and also it's a city. There's no beach. There's no there's nothing like that. Now, Sosua to Las Terrenas, those are two beach towns. And so they're very, we could say, comparable. So
I got you.
In Las Terrenas, I think I made a video about it. It's much more, we could say, well, here there's a tranquil, we could say tranquilo.
Okay.
Peaceful,
right,
relaxing, and all these things. Obviously, there is a little bit of a night scene sometimes, but in general, it's nothing too crazy popping off. So
okay.
So, well, for guys who are listening to this, or ladies, I don't know how diverse your
yeah. It's some guys and ladies. We'll get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, but but for last students, to me, in my opinion, if you have if you already have like a girlfriend or you already know somebody, you have a good friend in Las Terrenas already, then I think it's a really great place to go because the beaches are very calm and you can just really relax, really chill.
Okay.
Now, the difference, obviously, in Sosua is similar. Well, actually, but it's similar in the sense there are a lot of beaches, but here in Sosua is much more exciting. Like there's girls everywhere, and you actually, and some people would say, they say that you shouldn't bring sand to the beach.
So Sosua would be more for the single life.
Yeah, I mean, even though you do find some guys who are not single, but they still come. But yes,
right.
Yes, I would say definitely for the single man, Sosua is definitely a much more exciting option.
What is the African American or Black culture like in those locations? I mean, is it many people or?
Well, and actually, that's a good topic to talk about the differences between, specifically Las Terrenas versus Sosua. In Las Terrenas, the Black community, I didn't even I saw some other Black people, like a handful of other Black people, but really there's no, I can't really say there's a community. And also, well, let me preface this. When I say Black people, obviously there's a lot of Black people because there's Dominicans. A lot of Dominicans are Black. We're talking about African Americans. Yeah, African Americans specifically. No, there weren't that many other African Americans. Now, here in Sosua, and this is one thing that I think I talked about in a video. There's definitely a lot of other brothers here, a lot of specifically African Americans. And for me, this is something that's almost new because, for example, I'll wake up, I'll be walking because I walk a lot just around, and I see a brother that I met, the other day,
right?
And then later in the afternoon, I'll see somebody like, oh, hey, or especially with my channel, somebody will stop me like, oh, I saw your channel, ask me a couple questions or something like this. So definitely, I would say here there's definitely a lot of we could say brotherly love in the Sioux. So obviously, a lot of people come to Sosua for some specific reasons, but if you're also looking for a place that's just very, I would say, very welcoming as a brother and just meet other brothers, and if you're not a drama type person, because that can also be on the flip side.
Okay.
As well. But if you're just, calm, cool, and collected, then I think Sosua could be a great place to meet other brothers for sure.
Okay. And so what is the dating scene like? Because that's basically this interview is going, because I see you got so many videos on Sosua, so we're going to basically just stick to Sosua. What's the dating scene in Sosua, man? What is that like?
That's a very good question. Very good. Well, how can I try this? When it comes to dating, well, I don't know, for example, I saw a comment today, I would have to be very real, just keep it open.
Right.
Someone said that tricking is not dating, so a lot of people will think to themselves.
Right.
A lot of people, the thing you have to understand is Sosua is kind of like Las Vegas of Dominican Republic. So, there are elements of Sosua throughout all of Dominican Republic, but in Sosua it's much more exaggerated.
Okay,
if you will. So if you're looking for like a true relationship, I think I did a video to can you find real love? So if you're looking for a wife or like a serious girlfriend, then Sosua might not be the best place for you. But if you're looking for just like companionship, you're looking some companionship on some level. If you're just looking to hang out for a day. And to be honest with you, a lot of people, I would say most people come to Dominican Republic in general. Most tourists and foreigners come, for a week or for a weekend. And in that sense, I think that, coming here can be great because you can find somebody and, have a great time.
Right.
Enjoy your week, And I'm not just talking about, that action of you, but really just enjoy your time on the beach and all these things. But like I said, for a week or a weekend. But if you're really trying to find a real girlfriend or something serious, then I would say Sosua probably in general is not the best place.
Where do you meet these women at? Are they just all around, or is it social media, or at the market, or at the beach, or how do you come about finding these women?
In general, let me explain how. Well, I don't want to say. I'm not going to say the name, but let's just say that one of my videos, I could say, when I first got here, I met a woman who has become basically like my plug, we could say, for real. So I don't really go out too much because, especially as it relates to not so much like personally, but like as it relates to like making videos and whatnot, it's actually difficult. It's very difficult as a man to go up to some of these women and be like, oh, you know, I'm a photographer. I do videos. It's all, and especially because I mean, my Spanish is okay, but you know, I don't speak 100% fluent Spanish.
Right.
Really, to be honest with you, a lot of times, you know, like I said, I kind of have like a plug, we could say, or like somebody, a girl who I talk to, who I know, who, you know, we have a little bit of we say some trust with each other. And, you know, she has friends, and then she talks to her friends, you know, her friends have, and it's really just a level of trust. And I think in general, and that's kind of goes when we talk about dating, I think here in Sosua, if you can build a level of trust within a group of women, then I think that's when you can really have a good time. Because if they know that you're serious, you know, about what you're doing and about, you know, making sure they're okay, you can have a really fun time and do certain things outside of just, you could say, that action.
I see a lot of people, like I said, do these travel channels, but sometimes it can get a little dangerous. You know what I'm saying? So what are some of the do's and don'ts?
I would say when it comes to the do's and don'ts, I think it's really a matter of I guess we could say ethics. I don't want to get down into ethics, but it's just a matter of like how you feel. You know, I think that you in Sosua you do see a lot of like walking videos, and some people they call those creep cams.
Right.
I don't necessarily want to call those creep cams, but you know, just say walking videos or walking.
Right.
We could say, and you know, where they happen to like follow, you know, different ladies and different women around. You know, if you want to do that, then obviously you're going to need like a very discreet camera to be able to accomplish that, because women will, I mean, that's one thing about not just Sosua, but Dominican Republic in general, people are not afraid to say how they feel.
Right.
It's a part of the culture. If they see something they don't like, they're going to let you know. And and here in Sosua, especially in Sosua, women don't like to be filmed in general because it's not all the time, but sometimes these women, they come here to, and like I said, Sosua is kind of like the Las Vegas. So they come here. They don't always tell their families what they're doing or where they're going specifically. Right. So they're not trying to put their business out there.
I got you.
So if you do come here and want to film in public and on the street, then yeah, you're definitely going to need like a discreet camera or like a hidden cam or something like that. Which for me, when I first got here to Sosua, I did. Like I think I talked about it. I don't know. I had a camera, like a GoPro that I put on the strap of my backpack, and so for me it was good because I didn't have to use my hands. But I mean, it's still very visible. You can see that there's a camera here, and and twice 2 women, you know, mentioned like, oh, you shouldn't have your camera. Why you have your camera? Blah blah blah. And and it was funny because both those times I wasn't even filming. I just had it.
You just had it.
On.
Right.
Just had it on me. Yes. But it just goes to show. That that's something that's very much so on these women's minds, because, like I said, a lot of them have children, you know, families. That not all of them want. I mean, that's not all of them. Some of them, everybody knows in their family what they're doing. But I think there's a good amount that, you know, they're trying to be discreet, we could say, about the situation. So as it relates to what I do, typically, I mean, especially now, usually, like I said, I just communicate, and now, you know, I have a good, I don't you know, how can I say, I have like a volleyball team, we could say right now. Like I have like a group of 6 right now that like, hey, you know, what are you doing? Are you available on the weekend? Blah blah blah. Do you have a friend? You know, and then we go out and then we shoot a video. So everything's very much so on the up and up. Like everybody knows what we're doing or what I'm doing. They trust me. I trust them with the timeliness. So, you know, it's that communication, we could say.
What would you say to have a good time and to you know, enjoy the best of the best? About how much money would you need to bring?
Well, that's a very interesting question, and I say that's an interesting question because, you know, obviously, how can I say, I have not tried to do that experience quite just being here for a week. But what I would say is, if you come here for a week, well, let's say in Sosua,
right?
So I would say somewhere between. I mean, if you're spending a lot of money every night, we have 7 days. I would say somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000. I think should be good for everything. Yeah, because like the hotel, the food, which food is not that expensive. Well, it depends on which type of hotel you stay at. There's a place called New Garden. There's a place called Casa Valeria, which is like maybe $60-$80, and it's like $60 to $80 or up,
Right.
like that. So yeah, so I think if you bring 2 to 3K, like let's just say you enjoy your evenings throughout your stay, I think 2 to 3K could cover it.
Have you had any bad experiences with the men being in the DR?
I mean, I think I talked about this one time. Like, there's where I live. How can I say? I don't want to say it's posh, but let me explain this. I guess it could be good to know for people who think about coming to this. There's 2 different beaches. There's one beach called the word playa means beach. So there's Playa Sosua, and then there's Playa Alicia. And Playa Sosua is, I don't want to say it's like the hood beach, but it's like the beach where anything goes down. You know, everybody goes there. A lot of people go on the weekends. It's just, you know, it's that. And then Playa Alicia is more of like, kind of like, it's more like the suburb beach, or more of like, kind of like, how can I explain this? It's just a lot more, I don't want to say wealthier, but it's just a place where it's much more, I don't want to use the wrong term here, but it's a little bit more upkeep, a little bit more up,
right?
You could say. So, and also there's some hotels and there's apartments, and I live kind of in this uppity. I mean, I don't want to say uppity area, but I live in this area. And one time I was walking with the girl who's been in my video. His name is Stephanie.
Okay.
And Stephanie, she's a very regular looking woman. She's not a pro, you know, she doesn't have any BBL, nothing like that. Very regular looking woman. And yeah, and this guy, and I invited her, to come with me. And this guy, basically like really press me like very hard about like, who is she? Why is she here? What she's doing and stuff like this. So I haven't had too many issues. I had that one experience kind of, like I said, with the security guard. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I haven't had like any like, nothing like notable, but other than that situation, because like I said, and that's more so because just of the area, like I said, Playa Alicia is a little bit more uppity, and they try to kind of keep a reputation.
Right. It
was more because of that than anything else.
Do you see a lot of surgeries there?
Here in the Sioux, yeah, definitely. There are, we could say the top women. We could say definitely, but I don't know for sure because I don't talk to each woman. But
right.
It looks like they may have gone to the doctor. They might have some receipts.
Right.
Here a little bit, something like this. But even within the girls that I know, for example, one, I remember I asked her, "Oh, can you do a video?" She said, "Oh, I'm recovering," because she had the surgery done.
Right.
So no, definitely these girls are definitely it's not all natural.
I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What other recommendations would you have as far as like, is there any like specific besides Sosua, any places that you would tell somebody that they want to visit or try, or like is it like, because how was Sosua set up? Is that like a city, or
no? It's a very small beach town.
Okay, so it's a beach town. Okay.
Yeah. So really, I mean, and it's funny. Sometimes people ask me like, "What is there to do?"
Right. That's what I was going to ask. Right.
Yeah. So, like I said, you have the 2 beaches, Playa Alicia, Playa Sosua. There are some other like not so much in the town, but a little bit outside of the town. There's like some ATV tours that you can do. There's a museum. I forget the name of it because I haven't gone there, but there's like a museum. There's like kind of an interesting museum. It's a little bit outside the city. So, and then also, well, the cool thing about Sosua is that it's in between an area, in between 2 cities. One is called Cabarete.
Okay.
The other is called Puerto Plata. And in those 2 places, and like Puerto Plata is like maybe 20, 30 minutes away. I think Cabarete is also 20, 30 minutes away. And in those places, like, for example, you can do a lot. Like in Cabarete, you can do surfing. There's a lot of water activities that you can partake in. And it's also just a very different vibe. It's kind of like that, like I talked about with Las Terrenas, it's a very European type of vibe. So it's a different experience. And then in Puerto Plata is kind of more of like it's not a big city like the capital or Santiago, but it's definitely a city vibe. You see, the common things you would see in the city, you're going to see there. And also there's like, and so like I said, the cool thing about Sosua is it's right in between both these two cities. So if you get tired of going to the beach, or if you get tired of doing some ATV excursions or something like this, you can always go to the left, which is Puerto Plata, and kind of have more of a city vibe, or you can go to the right and do more of a kind of a European experience. So there's in Sosua, maybe there's not as much, but there's a lot, and we could say the whole province is called Puerto Plata.
Does it also have a nightlife as well?
And there's definitely a nightlife here in Sosua. I know in the past, I think a couple of years ago, there was a place called V.E.T.V, which I mentioned in one of my videos, was very popping. Right now, if you come here to Sosua, there's a place called Playa Chiquita. I think there's a casino, maybe one or two casinos that are pretty popular, and that's kind of the place to be right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. If you try to ask me too many questions about the night, I'm not so much a night person.
Okay, I got you.
Because I teach English online, so usually in the nighttime I'm teaching English.
I got you.
But I will say that definitely, if you're, how can I say, in the nighttime, we could say it's kind of like the great exchange. It's like all the girls are out in the nighttime on the just by the bars. There's because in Sosua there's a major strip, which is called Pedro Clasante.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, I don't know if you've been to Miami, but it's kind of like Ocean. I don't want to say it's like it, but it's basically like the Ocean Drive.
Yeah, similar, right?
Of the Sosua. So it's one major strip where you have all the bars, and then all the girls go out there, and it's kind of, I say it's like the great exchange, because that's where the guys are and the girls are, and you kind of mix and match, see what happens,
right, all
right there on the strip.
How easy is it to approach and talk to women in Sosua?
It's very, very well. Actually, that's a very good question. Somebody recently asked me like, are the prettier girls harder to approach, or like something about this? And in general, I would say that the girls who maybe aren't like maybe the most attractive, which obviously beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but
right, say
attractive, like kind of, I don't want to say, but and like which girls you might not see in like some rap videos or on TV, something like this. Typically, they're more aggressive. So, for example, I was walking back to my place, and this girl like literally just grabbed my hand and started walking with me and started like asking me questions like, "What are you doing, Papi?" Or "Hola, ¿cómo estás?" All these things.
Right.
I just had to tell her that, look, I don't have anything for you. I'm not looking. I'm not interested. And like I said, a lot of the girls who maybe not are, just to keep it simple, using the number system, maybe they're not 8, 9s, or 10s.
Right.
They might be a little bit more aggressive. Now, the girls that, are in that kind of 8, 9, 10 bracket, it's you can definitely approach them, but they're definitely they're usually in a group with other girls who are, very attractive.
Right.
And, you really have to come correct. It's easy to approach, but you do have to come correct, and you do have to also understand that probably 5 minutes before you, there were other guys coming to approach those the standout girls as well. So in Sosua, and in this area that I'm talking about, Pedro Clasante, is definitely, when I say the great exchange, I could also say the great transaction.
I got you.
Basically. Yes. Yeah, because they're trying to figure out. Well, it's like it's almost like sales even. Like they're trying to figure out, what are you doing tonight? What are you doing right now? And I think that's the key word. If you come to Sosua, a very important word to know is it's called ahora, which just means now. Like, what are you doing right now? Because it's all about the now. You tell a girl, "Oh, I'm going to be here tomorrow," or "Let's meet tomorrow." I'm like, okay, I don't really care.
Right.
Right now, yes.
Mm-hmm. So from the other brothers that you ran across, because like you said, you don't really experience the nightlife. Have you heard any horror stories or any of the other guys, like as far as being drugged or robbed or any of those situations?
To be honest with you, here, just from what I've heard, and not just while I've been here, but just my time paying attention to the Sosua area, I haven't heard really too much. Sometimes there's some drama between like the disputes of pay, just to get into it, the disputes of like maybe a guy thought that the woman just liked him, for example, but really, it was a transactional situation.
Right.
Some disputes which can become a little bit dramatic. But in general, I haven't heard about anybody like really getting drugged or like robbed. And to that point, sometimes I go out at night just to walk. Like if I go to the ATM or to get something at the store, I might walk at night. And I've never felt like threatened. I've never felt like worried that someone's going to like rob me or something like that. So I would say, and I just say this because I've paid attention to some YouTube things when it comes to like, for example, some places like Colombia, like Medellin and Cartagena. This is what I've heard was happening going on. And I might shout out this guy named Razor Rays, for example. Like he's been talking about this a lot. How there are a lot of druggings there. Here, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm sure.
Right.
But here in Sosua, I feel like I at least I can say for myself, I have felt pretty safe and pretty relaxed.
Okay. And is this a place you plan on moving long term or?
Mm-hmm. All right, that's a good question. Well, like I said, how can I say? I think I have kind of adapted maybe this the Dominican culture as it relates to maybe staying day to day, thinking just in the immediate.
Right.
But in general, I do want to stay here. Well, let me put it this way. I really just want to build, like we talked about earlier, build my audience,
right,
and continue to build my brand. So if that means staying here in Sosua, then staying here in Dominican Republic, then yeah, I'm open to do that, and I'm able to do that because obviously I teach English online and making not a lot, a little bit of money on the YouTube. So
right,
then yeah, so for me that's kind of my goal. So I can't say that officially, like, oh, I'm going to stay here for a long time, but I'm just trying to continue to build my brand. And if that means staying here in Sosua, then yeah.
Any other, countries that you have on the bucket list?
Oh, yes, definitely. Like, well, for me, it's difficult because, some people, some travel YouTubers, like they go to a place for like a month or they go to a place for a couple, like 2 weeks or whatever. And then they go to a country. For me, I think it's just my personality. If I go somewhere, I want to stay there for like 6 months. I want to stay there for like 7-8 months. You know what I'm saying? For me, I have definitely thought about Brazil as an option because in Brazil they speak Portuguese,
right?
Which is similar to Spanish, but it's different. It's another language. So for the opportunity to be able to learn Portuguese, I think that would be incredible to go there for a while, and also because obviously, I can't speak from experience, obviously, but just from seeing the videos, I think that there are also a lot of, beautiful women, that could be good for the videos.
Right.
As well, and not just for the videos, but also good just to meet and get to know, and get to learn about, and also another reason, specifically with Brazil, is that, and maybe not a lot of people know this, but outside of Africa. Brazil has the second most population of like Black people.
I heard that. Yeah. I heard,
Yeah. So also, I think one thing for me, and obviously when a lot of people see my channel, they just think of the girls and the women. But obviously, another really interesting part of being here in Dominican Republic is being able to talk to other like Black people, obviously not African American, but other Black people about their experiences and about how they feel, because it's very, very different than in the United States, and to be able to go to Brazil one day and maybe learn some Portuguese and be able to talk with other brothers from a different country, like that, I think that could be a very special thing as well.
So what do you feel is the biggest cultural difference that you had to adapt to?
I guess the biggest thing, it's not so much culture. It's just a couple of things. And I think even in my first video, I just called this like the realities of the Dominican Republic, which, for example, well, even in this video, my internet connection has kind of cut out here and there. So when it comes to like some of just infrastructure, like internet, electricity, sometimes the electricity can cut off from here to there, which, I'm not saying that doesn't also happen in the United States in some places. But in general, the infrastructure is much stronger in the U.S. compared to here in the Dominican Republic. So that's something that, if you're not really used to that, or if you're not very comfortable with maybe, one day having, 6 hours without, electricity or something like that, then that's something to consider before moving to the Dominican Republic. But as it relates to the culture, I think something that's just very different is Dominicans are very communicative. And so they're very just, talkative, and they're very communal people. So like, you just in the afternoons, you'll see just people just sitting around, just talking, and technically not doing anything, but just living their life.
Living life, right.
Yeah. Whereas in the United States, obviously, we're more of a hustle culture and whatnot. And so we're just always, we're more about doing than just being, I could say.
Right.
So I think that's definitely one thing that I've noticed that's very different. And sometimes it's not, it's something you have to adjust to. This is a different way of life compared to the US.
You know how it is in the US, all of the women here have social media platforms, Instagram models, and all of the above. What is social media like there?
Okay, that's a very good question. Well, I could just speak to as it relates to the women that I know. And actually, I'm glad you asked that, because a lot of guys ask me, "Oh, why don't you put their Instagram on in your videos or something like this?" Sometimes first off, I don't even talk about Instagram with these women. And I think that goes to show that it's not necessarily a big deal, like being popular on Instagram. And it's, like I said, specifically here in Sosua, a lot of these women are not trying to become, Instagram famous. That's not like, and I'm not saying that there aren't women in Dominican Republic
right.
who don't have that goal, but at least the majority that I've come into contact with, that's not really their MO. That's not really their, their objective to do that. So it's very, very different. I think social media is much more personal, much more like friends. Now, what I would say that's different are the social media app that women use that I have seen for more business stuff is WhatsApp.
WhatsApp, right? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. WhatsApp is much more like even the girl. There's a girl named Stephanie in my videos, and she sells clothes, she sells hair,
right?
And she puts all of that on WhatsApp.
Okay.
And so so I would say for the most part, when it comes to business type stuff, WhatsApp is kind of where it's at here in the Dominican Republic. But yeah, it's very different mentality, and that kind of what I said talking about the hustle culture. I think in the U.S. you see a lot of women trying to build brands and trying to build empires and whatnot on social media, whereas here in Dominican Republic, in my experience, and for the average woman, even the average beautiful woman, she's not trying to build an empire on Instagram or something like that.
If you could go back and change it before you started traveling, what's something you wish you would have known beforehand?
Oh, wow. That's a very, very good question. Well, I could say that, one thing that I think, like when I first, usually I use Airbnb when I stay in a place.
Uh-huh.
And my first Airbnb, it was a nightmare. It was definitely a nightmare. And I realized that I think that I tried to kind of go cheap. And I think I should have paid just a little bit more, and I would have had a much better experience. And in my first place, I was in Santo Domingo, which is the capital, and I was supposed to stay there for a month.
Right.
But after 2 weeks, it was a no. So I left, and I went to Las Terrenas just after 2 weeks, and I was supposed to stay in Santo Domingo for a month. So I would say in general, obviously, if you can spend a little bit more, I would say just spend a little bit more, and especially if you want to stay here for an extended amount of time, because for me, I work online. Like I said, I teach English online. Also, I do my editing and my YouTube stuff online. So
right.
Where you work, where you live is where you work, and if you don't like where you live, then it's going to be difficult to work
right
in that area. So definitely. This isn't so much for, I guess, people staying here for a short time, but if you're thinking about staying in Dominican Republic for an extended amount of time, then definitely spend a little bit more, and so you can really work and just live peacefully and have a good time.
For a person who's coming to, like I said, we'll stick with Sosua. How hard is it or how easy is it to make money? You know what I'm saying, for a living? Okay,
I see. Well, a very good question. I guess it depends on what you do. But I can say, for example, I know a brother who is in tech. I think he's a software engineer, something involved with tech.
Right.
And he's been here for maybe 8-9 years or something like this. So I think that there are places where you can have pretty decent internet, and maybe not amazing, but pretty decent internet where you can work and stay connected. So I guess it just depends on what you want to do. Like I said, Sosua is a small beach town. So if you're thinking about like trying to like build a business here, maybe is not the best place for that because I guess there's two sides to it because it is a small beach town. However, obviously Sosua is there's a lot of tourists coming in and out, a lot of turnover in that way. So you have to kind of look at the risk reward in that sense. So I would say that in general, Sosua is. I would say this. I think Sosua is a gamble. You can win, and I don't want to say that I won because I'm still going.
Right.
So here, I've been able to build a little bit of an audience, build a little bit of a channel, but you can also lose in the sense that it's a saturated area. There are a lot of other. Well, when it comes to YouTube, there are a lot of other YouTubers. If you're trying to do like an Airbnb business, a lot of other people who want to do an Airbnb business here as well. So it's definitely it's a 50-50, I would say.
Okay. So before we get out of here, man, what advice would you have for other people who want to follow your footsteps? You know what I'm saying, and travel the world or even create a travel channel. You know what I'm saying? What advice would you give to those people who don't know where to start or how to start?
Yeah. Okay. That's a good question. Well, I would say, I don't want to be cliche, but definitely just do it in the sense of, getting any camera that you can get, and start talking, start filming things. And when it comes to, when I say filming, there are people who, when it comes to travel, who just talk for the most part, and they're kind of successful. But when it comes to starting a travel channel, I think it's much more important to be very visual.
Right.
So learning how to, let me preface this. In Miami, I studied film production, so I learned a lot about filming and camera angles and all those different type of things. But you don't need a degree. You don't need a film degree to have a successul travel channel. So just going on YouTube and looking up a couple how to film, the production and all these things, even just a little bit of knowledge, I think helps, being very visual. And the second thing, like I said, is just do it. If you want to go to Costa Rica, if you want to go to Dominican Republic, if you want to go to Colombia, go to Vietnam, wherever, just plan, make a plan, have a scheme, or not a scheme sounds bad, but have a plan.
Right.
And just, pursue that plan and just do it. And yeah, I think that's really it.
I'll tell everybody, man, YouTube University, man. I learned everything off of YouTube. I didn't even have a laptop until last year, man.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Got a laptop, got on StreamYard. I learned how to create my own, background, learn how to do editing and everything, man, within about 6 months now.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah. YouTube, YouTube University.
Okay. Yeah. And like I said, it doesn't take, I think that, I think people watch a lot of big channels and they think, it takes a long time or it must, a lot of effort.
Right.
I mean, it does take effort. I don't want to make it seem like it doesn't take effort.
Yeah, definitely. You're right.
Yeah, but it doesn't in the sense that, but you don't need like to go to school or something like this to start to build a channel. There's something that you can do now. Right.
Yeah. Well, man, I greatly appreciate you, man. And, I appreciate you coming to the show, man. And, hopefully we can do it again when you, whatever next country you head to, man. I'll be right there behind you in support.
Okay. All right, cool. No, I definitely appreciate it. And I thank you for having me on.
Give the people your social media and, anything you like to promote or how they can find you.
Yeah, definitely. Well, obviously my YouTube is just Giamo Jackson Carter. And my Instagram is, Giamo Khan and is GIAMO_KHAN. And if you want to ask me any questions, you can ask me on my Instagram, and just check out my videos, and that's it.
Okay, man. There y'all have it, man. Y'all know my saying: yesterday's wins, no losses count. If you woke up blessed to be alive, keep pushing forward and strive for a greater tomorrow. This your dog Hollywood Spryte, aka Brilliance, and once again, man, thanks to Giamo, man, for coming by, and we'll do it again. Salute.
Okay.
Veracity Exchange Television.